An Egyptian soldier has been killed in an incident involving Egyptian and Israeli troops near the Rafah border area. Both the Egyptian and Israeli militaries are investigating the incident. According to Israeli media, there was an exchange of fire, but details are scarce, and no Israeli casualties have been reported. Tensions between Egypt and Israel have escalated since Israeli forces took control of the Gaza side of the Rafah crossing 3 weeks ago as part of their offensive against Hamas. Egypt, a strong supporter of the Palestinians, has condemned Israel's military actions in Gaza and the resulting civilian deaths. Despite being the first Arab country to sign a peace deal with Israel 45 years ago, relations between Egypt and Israel have often been strained. Nonetheless, fatal incidents between their troops are rare. The shooting occurred hours after Egypt's foreign ministry condemned an Israeli strike on Rafah that killed at least 45 people, according to Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry. Egypt accused Israel of targeting defenseless civilians. The IDF stated that the strike killed 2 senior Hamas officials and is investigating reports of civilian casualties.
We went after 2 Hamas commanders responsible for many attacks in Judea and Samaria and Gaza, but predominantly Judea and Samaria, shooting attacks.
Like Israel, Egypt has maintained a blockade on Gaza since Hamas took power in 2006. While Hamas, an offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood, is banned as a terrorist group in Egypt, Egypt has kept communication channels open with Hamas and has mediated indirect talks between Israel and Hamas for a potential ceasefire and the release of Israeli hostages. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has hinted that he does not want to end the war with Hamas yet, but he wants an exchange of hostages. I am not ready to end the war before achieving all its goals, and I will not raise the flag of surrender, and we will continue fighting until victory is achieved. I will not surrender, and I will face pressure at home and abroad, and there is no alternative to overwhelming victory. The Gaza war presents numerous challenges for Egypt, including the possibility that Israeli military actions could force large numbers of Palestinians into the Sinai Peninsula and negatively impact Egypt's already fragile economy. So far, Cairo had managed to use the crisis to its advantage by playing on Western fears that the situation in Gaza could destabilize Egypt. However, the risk of the conflict spilling over remains, and the financial aid Egypt has received may only temporarily mask economic issues that need structural solutions. Israel is facing new condemnation over strikes on the southern Gaza city of Rafah that local health officials say killed at least 45 Palestinians.
I have the impression that Israel with this choice is spreading hatred, rooting hatred that will involve their children and grandchildren. I would have preferred another decision. I reiterate that even though I share all the reasons that have brought them to the reaction after the shameful bloodshed and the kidnapping of the hostages by Hamas. But Hamas is something and the Palestinian people is something else. They should have used more discernment.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan also condemned the deadly strikes on Rafah over the weekend. The genocidal murderers, who have martyred more than 36,000 of our Palestinian brothers and sisters so far, rained missiles and bombs yesterday on civilians in a refugee camp in Rafah, which they declared a safe zone. This massacre, which took place after the call of the International Court of Justice to stop the attacks, once again exposed the bloody and treacherous face of the terrorist state. Israel has defended its deadly strike on Rafah camp, saying that they had bombed the tents to kill 2 senior Hamas officials, and claimed the army is investigating the incident.
In Rafah, we have already evacuated about 1 million non-involved residents, and despite our best efforts not to harm the non-involved, unfortunately a technical failure happened last night. We are investigating the case. We will present the conclusions, because this is our policy.